Can I get some extra fries with that wolf foot? Thanks. Wolf Man is directed by Lee Winnell, and he did The Invisible Man, and of course, he was the one who started Saw with James Wan. So, what did I think about it? Well, let's talk about the categories and give it a score. Acting. So, you ain't gonna get any Oscar-worthy performances here. Not from Christopher Abbott, not for Julia Garner, or Matilda Firth. You're not gonna get any sort of awards for their performances here. Now, that's not to say that these performances were bad, because they were good and what the film needed them to be. Abbott plays the father in the middle of trying to figure out what he wants to do, but also trying to be a loving and supporting husband, all while being kind of a stay-at-home dad with their daughter. Julia Garner plays her role pretty intensely well. Now, there's two ways that could have gone about this performance, and I hope it's the latter. One of which would be to distance your cast from each other so that the separation causes some not great chemistry when on screen. But what I think is actually going on is she's just so talented that she creates this separation effect when she's on the screen with not only her on-screen child, but her on-screen husband, to the point to where you know that she's a workaholic and she's not really at home and being present when at home. I don't want to talk crap about Matilda Firth's role. She is a child and she is good in this film. I didn't hate her role. I didn't think that that was a bad thing that she did. But what I do think is that there could have been a little bit of maybe a weight when it comes to the kid acting. I only say that because there are some emotional moments where she either needs to be scared and afraid or super sad and depressed, and it just comes out as flat. But that also happens with the other two characters as well. Like I said, nothing's really great here. So with all that being said, I'm going to get a half a star out of 1 within this category. Visuals. Well, I'm glad that the look of the Wolfman was terrifying. Don't really get a good clean look at really any of them till towards the end of the movie, which is smart. Hide what is terrifying, because what you don't see can be terrifying, because once you see it, the audience has more time to accept it, as well as kind of just say, okay, this is what we're dealing with. The body horror and disgusting nature of the transformation from Christopher Abbott's character from human to Wolfman is very disturbing. If you get grossed out by body horror, I highly advise you to skip this one. It's pretty gnarly. Bones be shifting, jaws be moving around, backs be moving around. It's just insanely disturbing. But there is an issue, and that's the bipolar camera, because what were they doing? Now, what I mean by bipolar camera is sometimes the shots are great, the shots are amazing, I enjoy what they're going for, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the shots are just wonky. I will say the things they do within the eyes of the Wolfman is really cool. It's really cool to see the transformation, not only in a physical sense, but also in a deeper sense, if that makes any sense. Some shots stay on the way I want them to. Some shots stay a little too long. Some stay too short. It's all over the place, and that's why I'm only going to give it a half a star out of 1 within this category. Audio. So, the sounds of the Wolfman, creepy. What they do with the Wolfman in an internal sense for sound, crazy cool, as well as depressing. What this film does is it not only shows you the horrors of going against a Wolfman, but it shows you the horrors of being the Wolfman. And audio plays a huge part in it, well, besides the score. The score is decent at best. There are some moments where I really enjoy it. There's some beautiful moments I really enjoy. But overall, it's not memorable. The sound out of my head, and it's only been a few hours since I've seen it. Overall, There are some really crazy good aspects of the audio, but there's also some very basic, just generalness. So with that generalness, I only can give it a half a star out of 1 within this category. Story. Well, I've been complaining about pacing for movies for a very long time. Finally, someone knows how to pace a film, because this film feels like it's nothing. This film starts and then ends because it's paced super, super quickly, and it's just done really well. Well, except for the fact that I feel like it's too short. I know, I've been complaining about movies being too long. This movie deserved like the Invisible Man treatment of being at 2 hours. This is like an hour and a half, hour 45. And that deserved like 10, 15, 20 extra minutes to kind of just give you more time with the family. More time with the family, either at their home or traveling. Like, there could have been a little bit more, and I think it could have worked. Or they could have dispersed that time throughout the entire film, and it would have been nice. One thing I didn't like, though, is the opening scene. The opening sequence, you might say. The opening sequence is pretty much a flashback of our main character with his father. And it's honestly completely unnecessary. Now, to the folks who've seen the movie, you might disagree, but I could tell you this. The moment that happens in the film will have the same weight if you remove that scene. Trust me. There is nothing else to know. You can explain the relationship between the son and the father with the packet of papers that he gets in the beginning of the film very quickly, rather than doing a flashback. So not only did they need to add 15, 20 minutes, but they also needed to subtract like 5 minutes from it as well, bringing it to around 25 minutes so they could have added of meat for the extra stuff in the film. Like I said, the pacing's really nice. The pacing's really easy. I just have an issue with the beginning, and that there isn't just enough content because I want more. And I also feel like there's also character moments and visual moments that didn't happen, that should have happened, that would make sense for the characters, and it just didn't. So I feel like a lot of things where the ball was dropped, but I also feel like a lot of the things the ball was scored. It's a mixed bag, so I'm just going to give it a half a star out of 1 within this category. Enjoyment. So yeah, I didn't like this as much as The Invisible Man. That film was crazy surprising because not only did it have great performances, but it was made for the modern audience, and it was just done so well. It was so creepy, it's so iconic, and just its time that it was out in theaters. Yes, the film goes by very, very, very quickly, and the characters are interesting, and it's just a blast at the movies, but I wasn't in love with it. I didn't walk out of the movie theaters going, wow. Now, did I think it would ever live up to The Invisible Man? No. The Invisible Man is an anomaly in itself. The Universal Jason Blum horror films that they're teaming up, the monster movies, is an incredible risk considering the Dark Universe failed just not too long ago. That failed so quickly compared to what they're doing here now, which is a bunch of disjointed movies, and I hope that's just how they play along with everything. Overall, there's things I loved about the film. There's things I didn't like about the film. I just think that it's just decent. It's a good January movie, if I'm being completely honest. So with enjoyment, I'm only going to give it a half a star out of 1. So if you're keeping track at home, that means Wolf Man gets 2.5 out of 5 stars. I think this film is okay.